Hello, I'm Eva from Ikshana Holistic Wellness.
Baby, don't stop. I'm falling even faster now. Beneath the North Star, all things that glow in the dark.
I would like to introduce a bit about myself. So I come from France, from a very, very small village in the center of France. And my parents were beekeepers, they were making honey. So I grew up there. So as far as I know, I've been always interested in learning about different cultures. And my initial background is in philosophy. So I studied about the European philosopher. So during 4 years, we studied about all the European thinkers, philosophers. And I was surprised that for 4 years, we didn't mention anything about the Asian philosophy. So I was very interested about learning more about Asian philosophy and especially about Indian philosophy. I decided to write my thesis on Chandogya Upanishad, which is one of the oldest Upanishad, and it belongs to the Samaveda, as you may know. This Veda is all about the sound, melodies, and chanting. And the Chandogya Upanishad is more about Om. After that, I wanted to learn more about Indian culture and Indian philosophy, and I started learning Sanskrit and Indian civilization in Paris. I did that for 2 years, but after 2 years, I felt a bit, a bit stuck because it's difficult to find a job with this kind of study. So I decided to take a break, 1 year gap, to think about what I will do. And at this time, actually I wanted to visit India, but there was no opportunity. That time there was no grant to go to India, but there was a grant to go to Africa. And somehow I wanted to travel and I decided to apply for this grant. I submitted a project which was about comparing African philosophy, the oral tradition of Africa, the griot, and the tradition of reciting mantra in India, which is completely two different words. And I got the grant, so I was sent to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. And I started studying there for maybe 2-3 months, and it was actually super interesting. After some time, actually, because of the protests on the campus, the university was completely closed. And I was there in Africa, and I felt like I want to stay more and discover this country, Burkina Faso. And I had the opportunity to get a job as a French teacher in the French Institute of Ouagadougou. And I started working as a French teacher for foreigners there. And I really enjoyed it, actually. So I decided, okay, why not staying a bit more longer and train myself online, which I did. And I started getting more and more students. I started working in primary schools as well, such as the American School of Ouagadougou, or another bilingual school called Les Lauréats. So I was really enjoying this job. And I had a job offer to work at the French embassy in Beijing, in China. In Beijing, I was working for the French embassy and I was in charge of the training of the French teacher in the university, in the Chinese university. I also spent 4 years there, and I moved to Japan, to Yokohama, because I was appointed as a deputy director of the French Institute in Yokohama. And there I spent 11 years, which is quite a long time. Japan was a very challenging period of my life. And after 11 years, I had this opportunity to finally come to India and to come to Trivandrum because I was appointed as director of Alliance Française de Trivandrum. And I spent 4 wonderful years there. Working with wonderful colleagues. We had a lot of cultural events. We were teaching French to Indian students. And it was one of the best time of my life, professional life. So after 4 years, I felt like, okay, I really like this place and I want to stay here. I want to work on my own and do something meaningful. And this is how I decided to start Ikshana Holistic Wellness.
2 steps from the edge, moving closer. In the deep lies the pond of disclosure.
It was actually my dream to come to India, but somehow it didn't happen. So I really believe that things happen for a reason and at the right time always. And when I was in India, it was during the COVID period also. And I started doing yoga at home during the COVID, during the weekend, and started doing a teacher training actually online with SVSI University. After COVID, I also did another teacher training in Varkala, in Ashtanga and Vinyasa. And I specialized in yoga for people who deal with PTSD and complex PTSD. During my travels and with all the people I've met when I was traveling, I realized that trauma is something extremely common, unfortunately. And it happened to a lot of people, more than we can imagine. In fact, almost 70% of the worldwide population is affected by trauma, at least one major trauma in their life. And more than 30% will experience more than between 1 and 4 different types of trauma. I really wanted to do something that is meaningful for people, that can really make a difference for people. See, when you experience trauma, most of the time we're going through the normal things, which is like going to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and go for a talk therapy, which is actually a good step, a good first step, but it may not work for everyone. Some people may not want to talk about it at all because it's too triggering, and some people need something completely different, which is more about embodied healing. So I start training myself into what we call trauma-sensitive yoga. It is a training delivered by Center for Trauma and Embodiment in the US. And in this particular form of yoga, we literally bring the body into therapy versus a talk therapy. So we help people, we help individuals to learn or relearn what is good for their own body through invitational language and choice making. At Ikshana Holistic Wellness, we also offer different kind of embodied therapy, such as meditation, which is more working on the emotional regulation, and yin yoga, which is a very restorative form of yoga. We also offer wellness retreats, and our signature retreat is Embrace Life. We will have a retreat coming in March in Varkala, so we are very happy about it, and some retreat coming in France as well from April. At Ikshana Holistic Wellness, our main goal is to help individuals to overcome trauma. A second important mission of Ikshana Holistic Wellness is to deliver a wellness program. We aim to build a trauma-informed community in which all policymakers, teachers, parents, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists are completely informed about the aftermath of trauma, and in this approach can actually help better people suffering from trauma. If you are on a healing journey, or if you are just interested about what is holistic wellness, you can contact me on this number. And if you are interested in this content, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.